Oh, you know what time it is. It's everybody's favorite segment. Don't hate the player. Mike, we got to figure out what's going on in this NL East. We got some teams close on the borderline. Marlins would be in right now in the playoffs, but I look at they might need to add a little something if they want to be a serious player here. With them being, right there, if they could add a little, whether it be a position player, whether it be a pitcher, I need to know from you. Who do you think that the Marlins should be adding along to help them the rest of this journey?
Well, this is we're going a little bit fairy tale world, right?
Yeah,
ideal
absolutely.
situation. So Marlins,
you got all the money in the world.
Yeah,
whatever.
I look at their bullpen, 7th in the National League, and I'm like, who can we add? Well, they picked up A.J. Puck in that trade for J.J. Bleday. That's worked out nice. He's been real good. How about a little Josh Hader? You'd think the Padres would be calling the Marlins at the beginning of the season to maybe pick off one of their guys. No, the other way around. How about a Puck-Hader combo? Good luck in the 7th with that.
No.
And I think the Marlins need to take the innings load. Yuri Perez, he's going to be a stud. Yeah. He looks like a kind of an Alcantara last year clone. It didn't work for Steven Strasburg. The innings load, I get it. But these kids they're dominant. They're physically fit. They got to bring this kid back up. He needs the innings because the Marlins have to strike while the iron is hot. They're there. They're in a position where I'm not sure they expected to be in this spot.
Right.
So if you're here, you got to go for it. I think they're going to make some moves, and I think the bullpen is where they got to start.
I'm on the same thought process with you, but I'm thinking more from a position player standpoint. I'm thinking more, give me some more offense, because I do like the fact of what they have from a pitching standpoint. Yes, they can always add some relief pieces as well. I look specifically at a third baseman that's been balling in their own division in a Jeimer Candelario. He's this year with the Nationals, he's done an amazing job at third base. And I look at third base for the Marlins, and it's almost been a little bit of a hole. Gene Segura hasn't been the guy that they've expected him to be. We've seen him ball out in the past, but I think if you get an opportunity to bring somebody in that can take some pressure off of him, whether it be a platoon or not, Candelario to me is a perfect fit at that position. And I want you to check this out. The Marlins' third base position not been good from a power standpoint, on base percentage standpoint, slugging, all that. Jeimer Candelario fits in perfectly, the slugging, the on base percentage. It's not like he has to hit a bunch of home runs because they have got some guys that hit home runs, right? I think about Soler, but if you can add a little bit more of that protection around a guy like Soler, a guy like Arise, I think you're in a good spot.
Yeah, it definitely makes the lineup deeper. When you look at the kind of the middle of that Marlins lineup with Sanchez, De La Cruz, Soler, you got Luis Ariz hitting in the 2 or the 1 hole. Wow, you get a guy like that, it's just more depth. You kind of keep the line moving. You lengthen that lineup, and it puts a lot of pressure on opposing defenses. And he's not going to cost you a punch. It's not like you got to unload, 3 top prospects to get the guy. Anything to make your team better, right?
I love how Candelario's bounced back. Now I want to talk another team in the NL East, the Phillies. It's another team we see right there, have the opportunity to make the postseason. We saw them make trade deadline moves last year as well. So I'm wondering, who would the Phillies need to add to get them to where they need to be?
All right, Philly fans, here we go. Gonna have to make a move, and if there's anyone that can do it, it's Dave Dombrowski. Hear me out. You're gonna get Shohei Ohtani, but you need to take on Anthony Rendon's salary. That's the only way it's not gonna cost you 5 prospects for a possible 2-month rental. Ooh. But imagine Shohei Ohtani, hey, we need a little bit help in the starting pitching department. Bam, check. We need maybe someone who can drive the ball, out of the park at will. Boom, check, we got Ohtani there. My only question is, when I look at that, Schwarber, Castellan, I guess Marsh has to be in the trade back to Los Angeles where he started his career, Ohtani, Harper, I don't know, maybe I put Alec Bowman, put him in center field, put Harper at first. We can't mess up Harper's elbow. But, little Rendon, maybe he gets excited for the last 2 months. I don't know. It's just that contract staggering,
that is tough.
And it's a lot of money to swallow. He hasn't been on the field as much as I'm sure he has hoped, as much as the Angels have hoped. But that's the only way you unload and do something like that. Any Ohtani craziness has to be, you got to carry salary. You still got to give prospects, but hey, we're dreaming.
Whatever it takes to get Ohtani.
That's right. Whatever you got to do, you got to do. This is a once-in-a-lifetime.
I maybe got something that may be a little interesting, too. Cardinal fans, don't get mad at me. Because I'm looking at Paul Goldschmidt.
One of the cornerstones?
The first base position for the Phillies has been one of those areas where they've been trying to figure it out, right? After Rhys Hoskins went down, you have a hole there at first base. Look who can slide in perfectly and fill that position. We know the Cardinals are going to deal some guys. I don't know if it's going to be any of the cornerstone guys, But if there's a guy, if I'm the Phillies, and I'm looking at him coming in and providing production immediately, and he's got the track record, and I know that I can use the help from an offense standpoint. Look at first base. This changed the whole outlook
of a whole different team
of my lineup. Same thing with Ohtani, but I'm looking at you get protection for Harper, get protection for those guys, whether it be Bone, whether it be Cassiano, Schwarber. You add Paul Goldschmidt to that lineup. This team is going to be deadly.
Be careful.
It's going to be deadly. Cardinal fans, do not get mad at me. It's just a hypothetical. I'm just thinking about what the Phillies could do, okay? And maybe get some help. Maybe Andrew Painter coming back.
Yeah, you got to do something.
I don't know. Okay, so I was thinking about Arise because we talked about the Marlins earlier. Obviously one of the best pure hitters, maybe the best pure hitter in the National League. Maybe we don't give enough love to some of the American League best pure hitters. I love what Seager's been doing. Corey Seager, to me, been a guy now that's been extremely impressive when you talk about, coming back from the injury and really being productive, line drives all over the field. I need to know from you, who's the best pure hitter in the AL?
Well, my opinion, I'm going north of the border. It's Bo Bichette. I mean, this guy is a hitting machine. And I tell you, when I first saw him come up with the big leg, he's got that big leg kick until he kind of gets with 2 strikes. He just does everything. Up and away, all 4 quadrants he can handle. Yeah. Up and away, low and in, off speed, guys with velocity. He hits to all places, plays a premium position, has power. I mean, I think he's led the American League in hits the last 2 years. Again this year, he's an absolute hitting machine. He's just one of those guys that every time he comes to the plate, you're just like, okay, what's he gonna do? Because he's gonna do something special. You know, he's not afraid to swing early in the count. He's disciplined. He's I don't know, in my opinion, pure hitter. Right-handed guy, not a burner, but runs well. Usually those guys that get all the hits, there's there are lefties that fly because they can slap a couple balls and steal 10, 12 hits a year.
He starts going oppo, biscuits, he's
And when he's hot, Xavier, I mean, it's like 17 hits over a span of 7. Like, it's just ridiculous. It's multi-hit game after multi-hit game. So he's special. He's a guy I love watching.
I love that, and I want to give some love to Yandy Diaz because I feel like he's one of those guys that's such a pure line drive guy that we've seen with the Tampa Bay Rays. Been one of the best when it comes to OPS plus. One of those guys, WRC plus. We don't almost give him enough love, but he's been one of the staples for this team and one of the reasons why they've been extremely impressive this year. Obviously, one of the top teams in baseball. Yandy, let's get Yandy, and he's got some swag too. He brings the pink out, he'll bring the yellow out, different colors, but he's one of those guys you can count on in the big situations. And my man's biceps are just absolutely ridiculous when I look at them.
And physically, when you look at him, I remember when the Rays started leading him off, I was like, man, he's a little too big to lead off. Great plate discipline. He's just a guy that he kind of has that Mookie Betts mold where from jump, pitch 1, you better be careful.
Yeah, he's going
because he's a guy that can really do some damage.
That's true, man. That's true. Hey, don't hate the player right there.
That's right.